Recording in progress.
Welcome, everyone. We are to the intrepid New Englanders who are here and watching online. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Land Use Committee. I'm Andrea Kelly. I'm the chair. With us here in the chamber tonight, we have Councillor Allison Leary from Ward 1, Councillor Tariq Lucas from Ward 2. I'm from Ward 3. From Ward 5, we have Councillor Julie Irish. From Ward 6, we have Sean Roach. We do also on Zoom have Randy Block, Councillor Randy Block from Ward 4. We have some staff members with us. The clerk tonight is Cassidy Flynn. She's in the chamber. And from planning, we have Sandria Berman and Kat Kemet. And if other councillors or city staff join us, I will welcome and introduce them as we go. It's a pretty quick night. Tonight we only have 3 items before us. Excuse me, the first one will be a discussion on a consistency ruling. For those of you who don't follow our proceedings, this is really more a discussion and advice for the Commissioner of ISD. We don't take a vote on this, and it's about some changes to special permit 356-22, which is the Sunrise, proposed Sunrise project at 11 Florence Street. So first we will hear from the petitioner. I believe Mr. Attorney Bookbinder is going to give a brief update, and then we'll hear from planning. Mr. Bookbinder.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Stephen Bookbinder, an attorney with the law firm of Schlesinger and Bookbinder, with offices at 1200 Walnut Street in Newton Highlands. I'm here this evening on behalf of the petitioner with respect to an approved elderly housing with services development at 11 Florence Street and 318 Boylston Street in Chestnut Hill. By way of background, on November 8th of 2023, the City Council granted a special permit as well as a rezoning for this project. Special Permit 356-22 authorized the construction of a 5-story building which would have 120 beds. That special permit also granted relief for signage, parking, and various dimensional requirements related to the building, the parking configuration, and retaining walls exceeding 4 feet in height. At the same time, rezoning order 355-22 rezoned both the 11 Florence Street parcel and the 318 Boylston Street parcel from Multi-Residence 1 and Business 2 to the Business 4 zoning district. Following the issuance of those approvals, the project team has continued to advance the design toward construction. On December 1st of 2025, in anticipation of filing a building permit application in the coming months, the petitioner submitted a consistency request to the Commissioner of Inspectional Services, which consisted of approximately 10 to 12 items. On December 23rd of 2025, Commissioner Ciccarello determined that certain proposed changes to the approved plans are minor in nature and consistent with the intent and purpose of Special Permit 356-22, and he therefore approved those. He is seeking the committee's input on certain other changes which impact the exterior of the building. Bridget McCafferty, who is our project architect, will present those changes next, and then we're happy to answer any questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. McCafferty.
Thank you. My name is Bridget McCafferty. I'm a senior project architect with Market Square Architects out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And I'm going to share my screen so I can show you a few of the specific items that we want to focus on. So as Steve already mentioned, there are several things that Anthony has already approved for us, but there are 3 things that he specifically wanted us to get land use input on. So those areas are all contingent on the relocation of the memory care residence from levels 3 and 4 down to level 2. So the things that are impacted by those are the memory care terraces, the stair locations, and the addition of balconies and patios throughout the site. So the perspectives that you're seeing on the screen, the lower one is of the building when it was approved at building or at the special permit. And the upper one is what is we are proposing in our upcoming building permit. So the first one I want to focus on is where we have the number 1. This is where, so on the bottom, we had a 2 levels of exterior terraces that had screening on them for the memory care residents. We are with the removal or the relocation of the memory care down to level 2. That terrace is no longer needed, so we remove all of the screening and replace it with a few individual patios for residents that would only be accessed through specific units. Along with that, down at number 2, where the memory care is now located, we are adding that screening down at that existing terrace in order to, once again, provide some exterior space for those residents. Also related to that is the stair relocation. We wanted to keep the overall design intent of the entire building and keep the footprint exactly how it was approved at that special permit. With that, when the stairs got relocated, it was often in a space where there was already existing windows. Let me zoom in down here to kind of show you for an example. So on the bottom image, the stair location previously did not have any windows in it. The new location does. So in order to keep the design intent and maintain the appearance of windows in that, we are infilling it with an opaque material so that overall we still keep the overall design intent and aesthetic of what was originally approved. And then the last item has to deal with the exterior balconies and patios for residents. So we had several different roofs that were empty roofs but had direct access to the units. So we have added railings and access doors to those specific spaces, as well on the upper levels, as well as at-ground patios, so that we can really activate this space and allow our residents to move both interior and have some private exterior space. So those are the main areas that I wanted to focus on. Are there any questions?
Oh, well, thank you for staying available for that. And I'm thinking maybe we'll take questions after we hear from planning, but thank you, Bridget.
Perfect, thank you.
Before we move to planning, I just want to welcome Councillor Brian Golden, who's joined us in the chamber from Ward 7, Jonah Temple, our city solicitor, who's joined us online, and Stephen Farrell, councillor from Ward 8, who's joined us also online. But now again, let's hear from planning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Bear with me as I pull this up. Hopefully you'll be able to see my screen.
We do.
There we go. Excellent. So this is Sandria Berman, Senior Planner for the City of Newton. I'm going to provide a short planning presentation for the consistency review at 11 Florence Street, which, as Attorney Buckbinder mentioned, it was granted a combined special permit rezoning order on November 8th to construct a 5-story, 120-bed elder housing development in excess of 20,000 square feet, and to allow signage, parking, and dimensional relief for the building's parking configuration and retaining walls over 4 feet in height within the setback. Just a quick overview of the aerial map. The subject property for this development consists of 2 abutting parcels in the Business 4 district, 11 Florence Street, which consists of a 75,487 square foot lot, and 318 Boylston Street, consisting of a 7,548 square foot lot. The zoning in the area is mixed, with multi-residence 1, 2, and 4 districts to the west, south, and north, along with a Business 1 district to the north and east. And finally, the subject property is south of Boylston Street, abutting a residential condominiums to the west and a commercial business uses to the north and east. In terms of the proposed changes, the petitioner is seeking to make the following modifications to the approved site plan under Special Permit 356-22. These changes have been reviewed by the commissioner in a letter to the applicant on December 23rd, in which items 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 were deemed minor in nature and consistent with the intent and purpose of the special permit. The proposed items that we're seeking to the proposed items that we're looking for the council to offer some guidance on are the items at 1, 2, and 4 seen here. These items speak to the more prominent changes to the pre-approved site plan, including the addition of a west-facing terrace on the second level with a balcony, changes to the south-facing third, fourth, and fifth levels of the building. Additionally, the interior stairwell relocation prompted modifications to the exterior windows and doors along the south and east and west facades. And finally, for item 12, the commissioner has requested that the relocation of that transformer be allocated to a separate consistency review that he will approve, with the understanding that the proposed new location of the transformer will remain outside the required setback. In terms of some comments from planning, the planning notes that the most substantive changes to the building facades are due to the programmatic changes, the relocation of the memory care unit from the third and fourth floors to the second floor, and the internal relocation of the stairway. The most substantive modifications are visible to the west and south facing facades of the building, including the addition of that second floor terrace, modifications to the approved third and fourth floor terraces, and addition of new balconies on the third, fourth, and fifth levels. A majority of the proposed changes were deemed by the commissioner as minor in nature and consistent with the intent and purpose of this special permit. And finally, the proposed changes for consideration by the committee do alter the facades of the building on all 4 sides to varying degrees, but do not expand the building footprint or reduce any open space. Nope, I didn't switch that slide. Apologies. That concludes the presentation, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Berman. I think before we take it for committee comments, I'm curious to see if there are any members of the public who have comments on this. Anybody? Nobody in the chamber? I don't see anyone on Zoom. If there are people on Zoom, raise your hand. I'll call on you later. Let's take it into the committee and ask any questions or make comments that we may have. Committee members? Councilor Leary.
They mentioned the relocation of a transformer, and I couldn't, is that something that's abutting the building or attached to the building, or is it more internal? I didn't really see.
I can answer that if you wish, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you.
It's external, Councilor Leary. It's currently located in a corner of the site that's actually near our neighbors at the residences, and we're actually pulling it over to the other side of the building. That actually is not something before you this evening. This was a later request, and the commissioner wants to look at it. It may come back to you. So I just wanted to make that clear for you.
So it's not before us tonight?
Oh,
It's
okay.
not before you tonight.
Okay.
Thank you,
'Cause I
Mr. Bookbinder.
didn't notice it. Okay. I was wondering about is it number one, the number one where you removed the outdoor terrace on the flat roof there, and now it's just a flat roof? If you could.
That is correct.
So I was wondering, so that's just going to be a flat roof with no amenities on it, or no solar, or is it you don't have another use for it?
No, it does get reduced in size, so there is some exterior patios that would be for individual units that will occur in that location now. But the overall size of that had to be reduced just because of what we can actually do for code and what our travel distances are allowed. So it would be currently flat. We do have some requirements for solar on the project. So since that is now a technically an unused, non-occupiable roof, we will likely have some solar, or at least solar-ready spaces in there. But at this time, it would be a non-occupiable roof.
Okay, well, thank you for that. I thought it was a very attractive, and I think it's so important for people to have outdoor space, especially that is a very busy area. Just for the clients. So I'm glad that you're going to be doing something with it. I was a little disappointed to see that you were removing it, but I really like the balconies that you added. And I do think that the changes are pretty de minimis, and certainly, I think you need to do what you need to do in terms of what's best for the clients, and of course, you want a good-looking building too. So that's really all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Councillor.
and
Oh,
I
sorry.
will add to that is that we did have a meeting with the neighbors who are directly adjacent to that, and they were actually happy with the move because it reduces the overall massing of the building on that side of the project. So it was actually a very positive thing for them.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Councillor Leary. Next, we'll go to Councillor Lucas, followed by Councillor Block.
Thank you, Chair. And I want to thank Ms. McCafferty, I think I read your name right, for answering my first question if you reached out to the neighbors. So I'll cross that off my list. Are there any changes to the overall square footage or building heights in these proposed revisions?
No, we maintained the square footage that is on the site, and the overall height of the building stayed the same as well.
Okay, thanks. And it's the same height in all locations?
So the building has steps to it, which is where you can see on that back side. So yes, all roofs stayed exactly in the same location. There's no change to any of the roof heights or the parapets.
Okay, thank you. And Miss Berman had on her slide, I think it was number 5, maybe the last slide and the last bullet, number 5, was that you are now installing balconies somewhere near the top floor or on the roof. Am I understanding that correct?
Yeah, so they are not on the highest roof. They would be because of the way that the building steps, we had some existing roofs that were already there. And there was a space where we could have direct access from the interior to those spaces for residents to be able to use them. So we are simply activating the existing roofs that were already on the project by adding a door and adding railings along the outside of them.
And those balconies, forgive me, in what direction are they facing? Route 9, the mall? I mean,
So all of them they're either facing the south or the west. So they would be facing towards the residence.
Florence Street.
towards the what?
Towards the residential area, so the south side of the building.
Okay, and would it be, I mean, I know you met with the abutters,
Mhm.
and I presume they are, I think what you said, satisfied with these changes or in favor of them. But
Yes.
are they aware that the balconies, they're now going to have balconies on the 4th or maybe 5th floor that are
Yes.
facing them?
Yes, they are aware. They are aware of that, and they had no complaint about it when we brought it up and showed them the same images we showed you.
Okay. So the way how I'm all set, but the way how I view consistency rulings is, I think your predecessor chair would say this, is would we have approved this special permit with these changes in the to the site? And the answer is yes. So it is consistent, and those are all my remarks for this particular consistency ruling. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lucas. Councillor Block, followed by Councillor Farrell.
Thank you, Chair. Ms. McCafferty, could you bring up the slide that showed the approved building and the proposed building? There may have been 2 slides and like that. Yes, I think this is what I have in mind. I'm interested in the changes to the roof.
Okay.
What is being installed on the roof, and what is the height and structure of those changes?
Are we talking about this? So like number 1, where, or are like, I guess, can you point me in exactly where you're talking
Sure.
about?
No. Good question. I'm not talking about number 1. I'm talking
Okay.
about number 5. Oh,
Okay.
well, but yes, in the upper, it looks like, yes, that really helps. What are the structures on the left and to the right of the number 5 that you've got sort of floating above the building.
Okay, so you're thinking on like the highest roof is where you're
Yes.
asking? Okay,
Yes.
so there will be mechanical up there.
Uh-huh.
What is currently shown right now, these are actually larger than what we're going to have. We have recently gone through and redeveloped our mechanicals, so we are actually reducing the size of those, and they will all be centralized so that they are not visible from grade anywhere around site. And so we will actually have some studies to make sure that any mechanical is either not visible or will be screened on the roof.
And Bridget, just to be clear for
Mhm.
Councilor Block, these are not proposed changes. These are
Correct.
remaining the same. Good.
I,
Yes.
I was I was going to ask that if you could pull back to the other slide.
Mhm.
So so the approved design below that had the same mechanicals that's in
Yes.
uh, the above proposed.
Yeah. So
Okay,
and that's there we are not proposing really any changes. There will be mechanical equipment up there. The
sure.
exact locations are still being determined right now, but that is not any what we're proposing any changes to.
Okay, because it looks different. That's all. But
Understand.
I appreciate the clarification. Uh, Thank you. That's it, Chair. Well, just a comment that I think these kinds of changes are appropriate. The purpose is not changing. You are making changes that you believe will serve your future clients, and I think all of these changes are consistent. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Block. I think part of what was confusing visually is that those rooftop units are a different, darker color on this.
Agreed.
But as they said, excuse me, there are no changes to any of that. In fact, the units will be smaller than they're shown. Next, we have Councillor Farrell, but I would like to also mention and welcome Councillor Pam Wright, who's joined us online from Ward 3. Councillor Farrell. You're muted. Councillor Farrell, can you unmute yourself? There we go.
I had tried. Did I do well?
You're good.
All set.
Thank you. Let me again apologize for my belated arrival to this. I didn't hear the very opening comments, but two things following up on Councilor Block. The mechanicals up on the roof, will there be attention given to the sound, some sound deadening apparatus around them to, they tend to make a lot of noise. And will you be putting any materials around
We are required to screen the mechanical equipment if it is above our parapet height. And with that screening, we could look into additional sound attenuation, but that is not typically something we do. But it is something that we could look into.
Well, that I would appreciate that because you are abutting lots of residential territory here. And speaking of residents, when you say the residents, you've spoken with the residents. Can you tell me which groups of residents you have been speaking with?
Yeah, Steve, let me answer that, Bridget, because I know the background. Yeah, we specifically, Councilor Farrell, we've been speaking with representatives of the residences, which is the condominium complex next door. As you may remember, this matter was delayed for about a year as we were in ongoing discussions with representatives of the residences who had concerns about the project and ended up with an agreement with which we reached with them, which allowed us to go forward. We have been in constant touch with them ever since the time that the special permit was approved. I think you recall, Councilor Farrell, we also met with some folks on Tanglewood Road. I think you attended a site visit, came to a meeting at my office. We did not run these by those folks because all of these are on the other side of the building. They're the side of the building that the folks at the residences look at directly. The folks on Tanglewood will not see any of these changes. And as Bridget mentioned, the folks at the residences appreciated the change because if you look at the approved project, which is the second one below versus the one we're proposing, we've kind of lopped off some space, which they appreciated. So that's the background.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bookbinder. I think these changes are benefits to the project, and I appreciate them. I just hope that the project continues to be in touch with the residents on Tanglewood because of the continuing issues of water, which
Yeah,
we
we
did talk
will.
about.
I promise we will.
All right, then. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. McCafferty. I do appreciate what you have said here. I think these are appropriate changes.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Farrell. Just to one point that you raised, and perhaps Attorney Bookbinder and/or Jonah Temple could weigh in, but in terms of adding a new consideration around soundproofing around the rooftop mechanical, that is something that would be, in a way, rehearing the original special permit, and that is not what's before us. That's not what we're asked to do tonight. For a consistency ruling, which is around these specific items. Mr. Temple or Mr. Bookbinder, do you have anything you'd like to say about that?
Yeah, Chair, I can.
Oh, go ahead, Jonah. Sorry.
Chair, I agree with what you just laid out. I don't think that's really appropriate, or there's no real mechanism for this committee to set forth any conditions. Certainly, you could make recommendations or guidance for ISD and for the petitioner, but it wouldn't be binding.
I think, if I may, Chair.
Well, let's hear from Mr. Bookbinder first, and then we'll come back to you, Councillor Farrell.
I agree with Mr. Temple, but I also want to let Councillor Farrell know, this having been raised, we will look at it as we get into the design and the construction. If it turns out that we think that would be necessary, we would come back and go to Commissioner Ciccarello for what I think would be a consistency ruling to add something. I think that would be an enhancement, not a detraction. And we are happy to look at it, voluntarily. I do agree with Mr. Temple as to the legal nature of it.
Thank you, Mr. Bookbinder. Councillor Farrell.
I appreciate those comments, as always, from Attorney Bookbinder. It was just a conversation that I was trying to have about my concern in this area, as with my continuing concern about the water with the folks on Tanglewood. And I feel confident in Attorney Bookbinder's response. So thank you.
Great, thank you, and thank you for always thinking about impact on the neighbors. I was just trying to point out, in a way, what our official and legal role is here. I appreciate Mr. Bookbinder saying if something arises, they will consider it, and it may go back to ISD. So I'm good on all of those points. Councillor Roach.
Good evening. I share Councillor Leary's sadness that those 2 rooftop spaces will no longer be activated, and perhaps that the petitioner could look into green roofs or something that are a little less industrial.
That's it, Councillor Roach? No, it's up to you. Thank you for that comment. Any other comments from the committee or questions? If not, we'll try and wrap this up. I'm sure that the ISD commissioner has been listening or will listen to the tape of this. I'll just say from my perspective that adding that direct access from the existing roof with the railings and the unit balconies, I think is not only de minimis, but I think it's an advantage. I think that is consistent with the intent and purpose of the special permit. I'm happy to see those there. I think it also makes up for the space, though I wouldn't mind seeing some green roofs on some blank roofs, as Councillor Roach suggests. I think that it, like other councillors have mentioned, I think that this is very much not a substantive change, very de minimis, very much in keeping with the intent and purpose of the special permit. If there are no other comments, I think that wraps up our comments on this for the ISD Commissioner, and we'll move on to our...
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members of the committee. We appreciate your input, and everybody stay safe.
Thank you. Our next item will be quite quick. This is item number 58-26, which was a request for a special permit to waive 38 parking stalls at 1135 Walnut Street, the parish of St. Paul. Just to explain for anyone who's not aware that the petitioner, for the reason the petitioner has withdrawn this request or requested to withdraw without prejudice is upon further looking at this, the Planning and Law Departments realized it was not necessary because of the Dover Amendment. This is a church and it is exempted from some of these requirements, so they no longer need to seek a special permit for a waiver of these parking stalls. So all we have before us tonight is the consideration to accept that request for a withdrawal without prejudice. This is in word 6.
Motion to accept the withdrawal.
Thank you for the motion. Is there any discussion on this from anyone? Good. I think we can take a voice vote on this. Do you think so? Yes. All in favor of accepting this request to withdraw without prejudice, please say aye.
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 Is anyone opposed? I didn't hear it. That passed unanimously. Thank you. Good luck, St. Paul's. Okay, our final item is number 15-26, a request to exceed FAR and to extend a non-conforming front setback at 355 Walnut Street. First, we'll hear from the Planning Department, and then we'll hear from the petitioner on this.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll share my screen.
Thank you. Ms. Kemet.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kat Kemet. I am Deputy Chief Planner for the current Planning Department at City Hall. This is petition 14-26 for 355 Walnut Street. This is the special permit request to further extend floor area ratio and further extend a non-conforming front setback. The property is located in the Multi-Residence 1 district in Newtonville. It's a corner lot at the intersection of Walnut Street and Walnut Park. There is currently a 2.5-story, 2-family dwelling on the site, which has a pre-existing non-conforming floor area ratio of 0.57, where up to 0.52 is allowed by right. It also has a front setback of 0.9 feet from Walnut Park, which is also non-conforming as it currently exists today. Abutting properties include multi-family and single-family dwellings, certain retail establishments, and the Cooper Center for Active Living across the street. The petitioner is proposing to create an addition with a mudroom and an uncovered entry landing for the rear unit of the building along the frontage on Walnut Park. The dwelling has that pre-existing non-conforming setback of 0.9 feet from Walnut Park. The proposed addition will have a setback of 7.9 feet from the street, so it exceeds the existing setback, but it doesn't meet the required 25-foot setback, so that setback needs relief. And approximately 49.4 square feet of new gross floor area will be created. So the FAR will increase from 0.57 to 0.58, where up to 0.52 is allowed by right. So that also needs relief. For criteria to consider, the council should consider if the addition that alters and extends the front setback is not substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming structure is to the neighborhood, and if the increase in FAR is not substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming structure is. For analysis, we have no major concerns to note here. The Newton Historic Commission reviewed the proposal and approved the addition as it is proposed today. The setback for the mudroom exceeds the current setback by several feet, so it exceeds the 0.9 feet. It doesn't meet the 25 feet, but it's an improvement on the 0.9 feet. And the increase in FAR is very minor. It's just going from 0.57 to 0.58. So we believe it is unlikely to be a significant detriment to the neighborhood. And I'm happy to bring up any plans or materials submitted at the committee's request. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kemet. Next, we'll hear from the petitioner. If you'd like to come to that microphone, make sure it's on and identify yourself with name and address. But Ms. Kemet, let me just ask you one point of clarification in my head, and perhaps the petitioner can answer it if you can't. You were referring to it as it being on Walnut Park. I thought it was Walnut Place. because this house is on the corner of Walnut Street and Walnut Place.
You're right.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
my apologies.
Okay, I
In
just,
my head, I kept calling it Park, but
okay, it is Walnut Place.
There is a Walnut Park right near me. That's why I was confused.
There is. Let's just.
my apologies.
That's okay, good. We'll just get it right. Thank you. Go ahead, ma'am. Up. There's a button at the bottom of the microphone. And let's hear if you speak into it. Can we hear you? Let's try again.
Can you hear me now?
Maybe a little closer to you.
Should I go?
I know
turn
your
off.
laptop's in the way.
Is this better?
A little bit, thank you. Go ahead.
So, hi, my name is Jane Zislis. I'm applying for a special permit at a building for a single story. It's 49.4 square feet mudroom. That is the addition that we want to build in our front entrance home on 355 Walnut Street, Unit B. It's a side-by-side duplex located on a corner lot. The home is an MRI 1 zoning district, and the proposed addition will project into the required 25-foot front setback. This project will increase, as Ms. Kemet mentioned, the floor area ratio from 0.57 to 0.58, which exceeds the allowed 0.52 FAR. Existing FAR is already non-conforming. As she mentioned, we are requesting relief for the FAR and to alter and extend the non-conforming setback. We live in our home with 2 small children. The current entry opens up directly into our narrow living room that connects to our dining area and kitchen. In the colder months like now, everything just gets into our living room. All the snow tracks in, as you can imagine, with the storm that we had. All the ice melt goes in as well, and it's super cold in our living room, dining room, and kitchen because it's one large, narrow space. We're hoping that this mudroom acts as a vestibule, so we want an exterior door and interior door to kind of trap that cold air to allow for the warmth to stay into our house. And this space will really provide much needed storage as well for our strollers, the boots, all the sports gear that we have, that it won't invade our living room space as well. We really want to live here, make it a home, and stay here for a while, so we're hoping that this mudroom will help us out as well. The design aims to be modest and practical. It is built using matching siding, trim, and roofing to fit the existing house. The overall height in the mudroom is below the main roof line, and the structure will sit on a crawl space foundation. The project will not affect parking, driveways, or shared access, and it will be built directly and on our duplex lot. If there's no further questions, I have a quick imagery as well.
Sure,
to share.
go ahead, thank you. Images are always helpful to us.
Let me just share.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So I wanted to share with you all the proposed architecture and give a little bit of picture of what it currently looks like. So this, well, I'll go into details, but this is the proposed addition to the mudroom that we would like to build. And to actually see what the house looks like currently, we have, I don't know if you can see the mouse over, but we have this lot on this side. So it starts from here and goes back. So really the mudroom, what we want to build is right in front here. So there's a space for storage, and we have a way to enter the house without getting everything really wet and cold inside. If we go into the actual side, some things I want to point out, the roof line does not extend over the porch area. It's limited there, and it's, again, a 49.4 square foot mudroom. So small in size, but it will help with storage and just, again, the cold draft that we have coming into our house. If you can, here you can see the full area that you can see that how the roof line looks, how it will look with the rest of the house as well. And then I included in here the survey properties. One thing I wanted to point out is that we're still going to be below the max lot coverage of 30%. It's getting there of 29.9, but we wanted to stay conscious that we're below that 30%. And then the elevation is well below as well, that we had the elevation calculator with the survey. And then I included the FAR area ratio worksheet here as well if anyone wanted details. The last thing I wanted to mention is we made sure to try to speak to as many of our neighbors as possible. I knocked on everyone's door on the weekend a couple of weekends ago, and if they weren't there, I dropped off this letter that you see here, making sure that they were aware of it and making sure to be open to feedback or if they had any concerns as well. I was able to talk to our main neighbors around us, but it was the ones that went further down Walnut Place that I wasn't able to speak to everyone. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
It's almost as if you've come to our committee meetings before and how thorough you
I
were
promise.
in your,
I'm a lot more
your
nervous on the
outreach.
inside than it shows.
No, thank you, Ms. Zislis. We're going to see if there's any public comment, and there may be questions from the committee members, but you can have a seat if you want or stay there if you want. First, we're going to see if there are any members of the public who have comments about this, questions or comments. And thank you again for doing the outreach to the neighbors. I don't see any hands, so let's take it into the committee. Councilor Lucas.
Thank you. I'm going to be very brief, and I think you already touched on something, is the lot coverage. You said the max is 30 and you're at 29.9, so please just tell your contractor or whoever's going to do the work.
So
just tell them just to keep it under 30 because I don't want you to come back for an amendment or a consistency ruling, okay? So just tell them to try their best.
Peter?
No, that's fine. Other than that, I was told before the meeting that you've been working on the special permit for quite some time. Is that right?
I have.
Okay, well, I don't want to waste any more time for a 49 square foot mudroom. So when ready, Chair, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing and move for approval.
Thank you. Before we vote on that, we'll see if there are any other comments. Councilor Leary, Councilor Roach, after Councilor Leary.
Councilor Lucas already raised that concern about how, you're close to the edge there, and we don't want you to have to get a variance with all the work you've been doing. And it's a lovely project, and I'm very glad that you're able to do it and improve your house for you and your family.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilor Leary. Councilor Roach.
I've long thought that this kind of project should be an administrative issue. The size of it, the livability, but most importantly, the climate aspect and the energy savings. So I'm enthusiastically in favor, but we should investigate why this is a special permit. It shouldn't have to be.
Good points, Councilor Roach. Some of us are trying to work on certain things that are de minimis that we believe also should be handled administratively. Any other questions in the committee? Otherwise, I'll make a couple of comments myself, having been in touch with Ms. Zislis for over a year on this project. I think this is a very modest and appropriate project. I can't wait for you to be able to bring the wet boots and the strollers into a mudroom rather than directly into your living room. I will be happy to be voting in favor of this.
Thank you.
We don't have any other comments, so I think we can vote on closing the public hearing. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Good. The public hearing is closed. Let's take a look at the findings and conditions.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is Kat again, bringing up the order. So for findings, we have 1, the site is an appropriate location for the addition that will result in an FAR of 0.58 and is not in derogation of the size, scale, and design of other structures in the neighborhood, as the resulting dwelling will only be expanded by 49.4 feet, and the addition is limited to a single story. And 2, the extension of the non-conforming front setback is not substantially more detrimental than the existing structure is, because the addition will be set back further than the existing non-conforming setback of 0.9 feet. The site is also constrained by its location on a corner lot, which is subject to 2 front setbacks. We have the following conditions referencing the site plan and architectural plans. Standard conditions would apply for the building permit, and for occupancy, planning will review the plans at both of those stages for conformance with the special permit if it is approved. That concludes that.
Thank you, Ms. Kemet. I think we're ready to vote. We'll do this on a roll call vote.
Councillor Block,
Aye.
Councillor Farrell,
Aye.
Councillor Golden, Councillor Irish,
Aye.
Councillor Kelly,
Aye.
Councillor Leary,
Aye.
Councillor Lucas,
Aye.
Councillor Roach.
Aye.
The motion passes 8-0.
Thank you, everyone. Good luck, Ms. Zislis. Get moving on that mudroom. And we are adjourned for the night. Very quick, I might say, 7:45.